Very short intermission, only enough to get one thing and come back to your seats. Okay, I wanted to share this with you. And I want to read it actually in Aramaic, and then you can look at the translation, or we'll look at it together. I did this a few hours ago, and there's a few typos here I didn't catch, but basically there's a certain flow, and I want to share it with you. After Yaakov had his vision of the ladder, the transformative experience, the vertical experience, he had now to continue on his journey, the journey that he was commanded by his father. Go back to where I came from, go back to where your grandfather Abraham came from, go back to where Sarah came from, go back to where your mother Rivka came from. That is where I want you to find your wife. So, in Aramaic, the Holy One revealed himself to Yaakov in a dream. As the Zohar says in another place, he was not worthy yet of a waking vision, for he was still not yet married. Marriage. The importance of marriage. How do we take advantage of really being married if we are married? How do we really go into marriage if we're not yet married? Aramaic. V'hama kol ma dehama. He saw all that he saw. V'azlu imei malachim kadishim. Including angels that descended especially to guard him in Chutz La'aretz. He saw those angels. The holy angels accompanied him. Ad yativ al bera, until he got all the way to the well and sat down. V'kevan yativ al bera, the moment he sat by the well, sliku maya legabe, the water rose up to meet him. V'chen havala Moshe. And so it was later with Moshe. The well was a physical well, but it also embodied the Shekhinah. For he was to meet his wife there. That'll become clear. What he has just experienced in the ladder, in the vision of the ladder, is the divine aspect of his soul. The connection to the divine, the connection to the godly soul, the Shekhinah. Now he was to meet his wife. The mystery of the matter, the well, which embodies the concept of Shekhinah, rose up toward him only when she saw his connection, his yearning to connect to her. Kivan diyativ al bera, sliku maya legabe, v'chen hava leMoshe, d'mitaman izdamnat le itete, razati mila, bera la salka, ela kadhama kishra, dile lithabra b'hadei. Aramaic isn't actually a beautiful language, actually. Perhaps not as beautiful as Hebrew, but it actually has its own beauty. What's the Zohar going to talk about here? What's it trying to tell us? Moshe met his wife Zipporah at a well. Of course, it's going to mention here in a moment that Eliezer was sent by Abraham to find a wife for Yitzhak, and that happened also at a well. The well, the concept of the well. the water that rises up from below. The idea that Abraham dug wells, and then the Plishtim, which are the forces of oppression that can't stand the light to come through, they clog up the wells, and then Yitzhak redigs the wells. Something very special about wells, because when you find water in the desert, it's precious. And so the same concept is that where they found water, wherever they found water, Abraham, Yitzhak, and Yaakov, they established a teaching center. Because when it's water from below, it's water from above. As the verse in Isaiah says, "Shaftem mayim v'sason mimayene Yeshua," you shall draw waters of joy from the wellsprings of salvation. It's obviously not talking just about physical water, but it's using the metaphor of water from below to catch the metaphor of water from above. The teaching from heaven is called water. The channeling from heaven is called Torah. The experience of the channeling is the experience of Shekhinah, the indwelling presence of God in this world. That God allows us to become conduits of His teachings. Candles, if you were, again, to be lights. Next little piece. In English, Rabbi Abba said, all of these verses seem to contradict each other. At first it says, Yaakov departed from Beersheba to Haran. Lavan lived in Haran. If so, why does it then say that he picked himself up and went towards the land of the children of the east? Well, how do we know that Lavan dwelled in Haran? Well, Yaakov said to the shepherds, "My brothers, where are you from?" And they said, "From Haran." "Do you know Lavan?" "Yep." "Sure do." Implication, Lavan lived in Haran, in Iraq. So, no, if he was already there, so why did he have to go anywhere, to the land of the east? So the Rabbi Abba gives us an answer, which is that rather, this is really taking us back a few steps. Even though it's written here, it's what happened back in the land of Canaan. Yaakov wanted to enter or connect with the Shekhinah so that he could marry. You cannot marry until you connect with your own godly soul. That's the message. That I need to connect to the old deepest parts of myself and come into a relationship with them and begin to know myself on a deeper level before I can have a true and lasting and eternal relationship with my partner. And like two people going up a mountain from different sides, the truth is it's amazing, it's uncanny, but both of us, we haven't met yet, but both of us are going through certain things at certain stages of our lives, sometimes even to the extent that it's the same year, the same month, when we'll meet here and look back, that each one of us is being prepared to meet the other. Because really, we are parts of greater souls. But we have to do the inner work. So back in here, in the middle of the paragraph, he wanted to connect with the Shekhinah so he could marry. He said to himself, when my father married, it was because his servant had gone to a well. It was there that he met Rivka, the woman my father was to marry. Well, I haven't found a spring or a well or even water where I am, so I better get going. At that moment, Yaakov lifted himself up. Actually, it says, Vayisat Raglav, he lifted his feet up, and he went towards the land of the children of the east. And as there he came upon the well and met his wife-to-be. Rabbi Elazar said, no, that's not the way to learn it. He was already in Haran. It's obvious. The well, however, was in the field, and that's why it was close enough that when she came with her sheep, it says that she ran to tell her father. They were already there. It was just that it was in the field and she had to go back into town. Rather, they were outside the city, but fairly close. Now, there's an outside level to the Zohar, and it seems to be extremely, okay, it's like nice. Rabbi Elazar disagrees with Rabbi Abba, and I don't know if I can really do justice to the inside level, but that's what the Zohar is. It's very, very open, non-pretentious, and very experience-oriented.